Have you ever wondered what it would be like living on the streets, constantly wondering when your next meal will be? How about never knowing the feeling of love and companionship? This is how stray animals feel every day. There are millions of stray animals in the world, and the ones that are taken to shelters can be saved by people like you. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 main reasons why you should adopt your pets from a shelter instead of buying from a pet store. I am not here to say that getting your pets from a pet store is all bad, but I'm hoping to convince you why adopting from a shelter is a better choice. The first reason is that adopting a pet supports a valuable charity and saves lives. According to ASPCA.org, there are about 7.6 million stray animals that go into shelters each year. Out of that 7.6 million, only 2.7 million get adopted. If more people who were looking for a pet decided to adopt from a shelter, more animals would be given a second chance at life. The American Humane Association is supported by 11 million Americans who want to help and protect abused or neglected animals. One of their largest funds is the Second Chance Fund. This fund helps offset the cost of treating homeless animals because the medical bills for abused animals can be very high, and the shelters usually cannot afford it on their own. Through the Second Chance Fund, American Humane Association is able to financially assist agencies that rescue, care for, and rehome abused or neglected animals. There's a lot of time and work that goes into rescuing strays to try to give them a chance at finding a new home. It is upsetting to think about how many of those animals that unfortunately don't get a second chance because they don't get adopted. Adopting a pet from the Humane Society or a local shelter actually saves 2 lives: the animal you adopt and the animal that you open up a space for in the shelter. Many shelters become so full that they can't take in new strays until they find new homes for the animals they already have. Overcrowding is a huge issue when animals are not getting adopted fast enough. When that happens, they have to begin euthanizing some animals. The statistics I mentioned earlier from ASPCA.org also said that 2.7 million animals get euthanized each year. Sometimes they do that if the animal is just really sick, hurt, or old, but sometimes they have to euthanize just because of overcrowding or if the animal at the shelter or has been at the shelter too long. Hopefully, if more people start to adopt, then that number will go down drastically. Saving the life of an animal and supporting a great cause is such a great feeling to have. But there are also many other benefits of adopting from a shelter as well. It benefits not only the animal, but you as well. You will get your new pet at a great price. It is much cheaper to adopt rather than buying from a pet store or from a breeder. Also, a majority of the animals are already neutered and vaccinated, so you don't have to pay the extra fees to get that done. Adopting a pet is clearly great for your mental health, but it's also great for your self-esteem too. Many animals in shelters were either abused or neglected and have never had companionship before. Knowing you saved the animal's life and gave it a second chance will make you cherish their love and companionship so much more, and they will cherish it as well. There's a website called petfinder.com where you can look to find abandoned pets that need a new home. You can also share your adoption stories on there with others. A story that stood out to me was about a dog named Frankie. Here's a picture of it. It's a little Yorkie. Frankie was abandoned and found tied up to a fence. She was severely malnourished and looked awful in her pet finder photo, according to her new owner. The new owner said she almost overlooked Frankie because she looked so bad in the photo, but is so happy that she gave her a chance. It took about 6 months for Frankie to become comfortable with her new owners and to trust them, probably because she was neglected and that's all she had ever known. The owner is so grateful for Frankie, and I'm sure Frankie is grateful for her as well. The most important reason people should adopt their pets from shelters is so that they aren't supporting puppy and kitten mills. Most pet stores get their dogs and cats from mills or from mass breeders. The conditions at these mills are so horrible and the animals are not treated well at all. According to emmettcountyanimalshelter.org, there is a severe overcrowding and the animals basically have to lay in their own filth. They are forced to breed as many times as possible and hardly even receive any loving human contact. Responsible breeders will let you come to their home and see the living conditions and meet the breeding pair. It is hard to find out where the puppy in the window really came from, but more often than not, it was from a puppy mill. And when you buy that pet, you're supporting the horrible industry. Most people who are looking for a pet usually have a specific breed in mind, which is why they feel it's best to get it from a pet store. A lot of people think all dogs at shelters are mutts and are not purebreds, but that isn't necessarily true. According to the Humane Society website, about 25% of dogs that are in shelters are purebred. So there is a possibility that you could call and find a shelter that has a specific dog that you're looking for. Also, the Pet Finder website I mentioned earlier is a great resource to use to find a specific animal you're looking for. Or if you don't have a specific preference, then adopting from a shelter is a great choice because you'll have so many options. The next time that you are looking for a new pet, you should strongly consider adopting from a local animal shelter instead of buying from a pet store or from a breeder, because you will be supporting a great charity and will be saving lives. You will also benefit from the adoption in many ways. You will be helping put an end to puppy and kitten mills and cruel breeding conditions.